light orbs of Kamchatka, a haunting sky mystery. The world has strange corners, places that don't just exist but breathe, places that worm their way into your mind and refuse to let go. Kamchatka, with its volcanic spires and untamed wilderness, is one of those corners, and it's here, beneath a sky so vast it feels like it could swallow you whole, that people speak of the lights, orbs of glowing fire. Not friendly lights, no. These are the kinds of lights that seem to watch you back. I first heard about them in a smoky bar outside of Vladivostok, the kind of place where the walls have absorbed enough spilled beer and regret to tell a story all their own. An old man was hunched over a glass of something clear and potent, his gnarled hands trembling just enough to spill a drop or two onto the warped wood of the counter. Absolute, my betrayed spirit dropped him beneath the streets. Kamchatka, he said, his voice a rasp. You ever been there? You know about the lights. I shook my head. He leaned closer, his breath sharp with vodka and cigarettes. They ain't normal, you know. They're alive, those lights. They'll follow you. They'll wait. I laughed it off at the time, but something about the way he said it, the weight in his words, stuck with me. Months later, I found myself standing on the edge of Kamchatka's vast volcanic wilderness, a rented pack slung over my shoulder, wondering if I'd lost my mind. In Kamchatka, the nights are long and dark, and the silence is so deep it can crush you. It was during one of those nights that I saw them. First, just a faint glow in the distance, like a campfire's dying embers. But then they grew, floating closer, their light pulsing like a heartbeat. The locals call them the light orbs, and they've been around for as long as anyone can remember. Some say they're the souls of ancestors, wandering the tundra, unable to find rest. Others swear they're spirits of the mountains, guardians of the land. Me, in that moment, all I could think was that they were watching me, judging me. The orbs were eerily beautiful, shimmering spheres of yellow, red, and white that seemed to hover just above the ground, their movements deliberate, almost playful. But there was nothing comforting about them. The air felt wrong, heavy, like the atmosphere before a storm. And the way they moved, it wasn't natural. The indigenous Itelmen and Koryak peoples have stories about the orbs that go back centuries. They say the lights appear before disasters, like volcanic eruptions or great storms, as if they're warning the land of what's to come. But not all the stories are so benevolent. Some speak of travelers who followed the lights into the woods and were never seen again. Others tell of hunters who returned, but they weren't the same. Their eyes vacant, their voices hollow. Russian settlers in the 18th century dismissed the lights as superstitious nonsense. To them, the orbs were just tricks of the northern lights or swamp gases. But then came the reports. A Cossack scout who fled his camp screaming of floating fire, a trapper who claimed he saw the lights split apart and surround him before vanishing into the sky. And then there was the priest who came to bless the land and left muttering about things not meant for man to see. Over the years, scientists have tried to explain the lights. Ball lightning is the popular theory, a rare atmospheric phenomenon where lightning forms into glowing orbs. But ball lightning usually appears during thunderstorms, and Kamchatka's skies are often clear when the lights are seen. Others suggest volcanic gases igniting in the atmosphere might be the cause. Kamchatka, after all, is a land of fire and methane into the air. But here's the thing. None of these theories feel right when you're standing under that endless Kamchatka sky staring at those orbs. Because science doesn't explain the way they move, like they're alive. It doesn't explain the feeling in your chest, a tightening like invisible hands are gripping your heart. It doesn't explain the whispers. I wasn't alone when I saw the lights. A local guide named Yuri was with me, a man who'd spent his life in Kamchatka and claimed to know its every secret. When the orbs appeared, his face went pale. "Don't look too long," he warned, his voice trembling. "They don't like that." I didn't believe him, not at first, but then I heard it, a faint whisper, just on the edge of hearing. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. Something angry, something hungry. "What are they?" I asked. Yuri didn't answer. He just turned and started walking back the way we'd come, his steps hurried and uneven. "What are they?" I shouted, louder this time. He stopped and looked at me, his eyes wild. "They're what's left," he said. "Of what?" I asked. "Of things that shouldn't have been. I've spent months trying to understand what I saw that night. I've read every report, every theory. None of them fit. The lights of Kamchatka remain a mystery, one that refuses to be neatly categorized or explained. And maybe that's the way it should be. Some things are meant to stay unexplained. Some questions aren't meant to be answered. Because when you stand beneath that vast sky, the lights watching you with their alien intelligence, you realize something. The world is bigger, darker, and stranger than you ever dared imagine. And if you ever find yourself in Kamchatka, staring at those floating orbs, do yourself a favor. Don't look too long. They're looking right back.